Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me in this game of Solforge Fusion. We're currently looking at a game that I played in the 5th round of the Silver tournament in November this year, 2024, organized by Stoneblade Entertainment and supported by a huge prize pool. So there is a lot at stake, and it was a highly competitive tournament, so everyone brought their A game and their most precious deck, and let's head straight into it. My opponent Cletus is playing Necrium Tempest Fusion, the same as I. He is, when I first had a look at his deck, you can see his deck list on the screen right now. I was a little bit confused because I was not able to identify his strategy straight away. But as he made it to the top 8 cut, this is the first round of the top 8 cut, I was sure his deck is strong, and I had to be ready for everything. I myself am playing Rumble Spark Elemental Dark Heart Sorcerer combo with a lot of spot removal in the Tempest half and a lot of life support, so to say, in the Necrium half. I started off playing Fireheart Idol and the Hag against the demon that he played, which has stealth, and was hoping for the best, was hoping for some luck of the draw to get my Darkheart Sorcerer or Rumble Spark Elemental out very early, which did not happen the first 2 turns, as you can see. So I decided to go with a little bit of a more defensive approach, looking at what my opponent was about to do and trying to make the best of it. So I played Fireheart Idol and the Hag in the first round, which got shut down by a Spirit Leash, so his demon survived, and then he played this dragon, I don't know the name of, that gains some attack when he's unopposed. So, as I said, I tried to make the best of it, playing the Yeti in the Fireheart Idol lane to take up some counters on the idol, and maybe surprise my opponent with shifting the lane of the Yeti later on through the ability of the Stout Mystic. Sadly, I have the Xra's Will on my hand right now, which I will not be able to play due to the lack of life gain in this hand. So I will have a look on what my opponent has to offer, and as I said, try to make the best of it. So game plan here right now is surprise my opponent with moving the Yeti to the I think it's a glider or something. It's called a glider or something. So to trade evenly, and defend myself against some of the damage that the Necrium dragon here brings to the table in the 5th lane. So it takes a bit of figuring out what the best route would be, but then in the end I decided to go with the Stout Mystic approach to surprise my opponent and mitigate some of the early damage. Just for good measure, I put in the Flame Jet because I try to finish my opponent off within the late 2nd deck cycle or the early 3rd, and you can see that now I finally get to draw my key pieces, the Nova Elementalist with the Exalt, Rumble Spark energy that will be played when he is deployed, and so I will have to figure out how to get through in the Rumblespark lane, or whether I want to play the Stout Worm, which is also elemental, which will flip my Rumblespark energy. But I decided to go the path of Grimgorn Predator, which has stealth, and I can put my Rumblespark energy into this Grimgorn Predator lane in the second lane to hopefully push through some damage and flip the elemental. But yeah, you will see this plan was not particularly well put together, and he placed the Shambling Spirit in this in the middle lane, expecting my stealth creature to just go through probably, or having in mind that he has some sort of answer against the Grimgorn Predator, which an aggressive creature will always be. So I play the Darkheart Sorcerer, I play the Rumblespark energy in the Grimgorn Predator lane, which ticks up the counter of Fireheart Idol twice. I remove the Shambling Spirit. Shambling always nice to get rid of early on, so as to not trigger additional triggers when other creatures die. And I thought I would be good, but as you will see, I'm not. He switches lanes with the demon and just fends off my attack from the Grimgorn Predator, leaving me with a meek 1/3 mage on the 5th lane. So far so bad. Board state was on Cletus's side, and I had to figure out how to scramble back from this position. So he plays the Venerable Apparition, which lets you destroy one of your own creatures to give an opponent creature -2/-2, which he chooses not to do. Yeah, I would have guessed so, that he does not do that, because in the end getting rid of the mage is not a huge problem at this point. But as I said, I have had to get some plans together to stabilize my side of the board and not take a lot of damage in the meantime. So looks like I play the Yeti again, which is a silver card at this point, so it has a little bit of a tougher body. I have Omnom on my hand, which I decided to surprise my opponent in my second action with, to get a little bit better board presence and remove enemy creatures in the meantime. So Cletus takes his time figuring out what's the best way forward. As this is a prize tournament and the environment was quite competitive, all the players took quite care of what they wanted to do and how they wanted to approach the game. If you want to have a look at the deck lists, I will post them in the YouTube comments in the YouTube comments below, and you can see what my deck looks like, what his deck looks like, and tell me if I did something horribly wrong, or you think I could have played my deck better. It would be greatly appreciated, and I'm always eager to learn and make better moves, of course. So looking at my opponent's deck again, trying to figure out what awaits me in the future. He plays this Reckless Lasher, which does 6 damage to one of my creatures, but also requires him to take 3 damage on one of his creatures. Well, I think that trade-off is worth it most of the time, but that made the spirit in the first lane vulnerable to my Omnom. I don't quite remember which creature I got rid of at this point. Yep, looks like I got rid of the demon, the 9/1, and made my creatures aggressive and gave them +2 through my Forgebone ability, which traded 2 of the creatures in the 3rd and the 5th lane and flipped the Rumblerspark Elemental through removing the demon and making my zombie aggressive. So I would say at this point the board state was stabilized, the life totals were not totally out of control, and things were looking up. I was not yet sure that things were in my favor, so I took precautions to further stabilize the board state. And if I remember correctly, I did this through playing Epidemic level 1 in this turn. I was just deciding on whether to play it this turn, exactly this turn, or to play it as my second action. But I didn't want to risk it, so I played it this turn, leaving, removing none of my creatures and removing all of the opponent's creatures. I thought this was the best choice at this point because I only had 2 spot removals, of which Disintegrate was not able to remove anything, and Spirit Leash would have just removed one of the opponent's creatures. The decision went through Starved Mystic, Raging Demon and Epidemic, but I didn't want to harm my creatures, so the creatures I just played, and make a less effective version of Epidemic, or less but as you can see, it worked out quite well for me. I removed the next creature with Disintegrate. He was forced to play his Forgebone ability to not lose board control, and as you can see, this was the first time in the 3rd turn of the 2nd cycle that I see my Dark Heart Sorcerer, which is one of the strongest cards in my deck, which is made up of 10 creatures and 10 spells. So I tend to play a lot of spells which trigger the Dark Heart Sorcerer quite often. Also, it flips the Rumblerspark energy very easily, which always gives me a great body to put on the table with a 4/8 that gains attack power every time I play a spell. So yeah, things were looking good at this stage. I did not have crowd control, I didn't have board control, but I was working on achieving this. Now the decision is, should I let my Rumblerspark embodiment survive, or should I kill the enemy spirit in the 1st lane? I decided to let my Rumblerspark Elemental embodiment survive in the 3rd lane and leave it alive for damage in the next turn. So he plays his camouflaged demon again, which does not kill the Dark Heart Sorcerer, which is quite nice, but it does 7 damage every battle phase in the meantime. So for now, I'm glad to have my Dark Heart Sorcerer not be killed by any creature that is opposed to him, but I have to keep my life total in mind, which is currently tied with the opponent's guy life total at 14. So in the end, there's still a thought process to be had on how to proceed here. I decided to play the Nova Elementalist, killing the Moeba, which triggers some shambling from my opponent, and this lets me rethink my move, because I was not aware that this spirit was the shambling spirit, and so I rethink this but came to the same conclusion that this is still the best move to do. So yeah, I played a Nova Elementalist level 2, remove his Moeba, go to fight, and yeah, stay in a quite, well, bad position in terms of life total, but my board state is not that bad. So we are going into cycle 3, where I can remove one of his creatures that is already damaged through my Forgeborn ability. I think his Forgeborn ability was destroying some of his creatures to play an additional creature, and now I'm kind of scrambling to make something happen. But I have my Dark Heart Sorcerer level 2, and I have an additional spell in Virug's Embrace to trigger the Dark Heart Sorcerers and let me gain some life through Virug's Embrace and the triggers of the Dark Heart Sorcerers, which lets me in the end play Xra's Will. The only concern I have at this point is that he has some direct removal on my Dark Heart Sorcerers, which would weaken this strategic choice. But he plays another camouflaged demon, which is a good sign for me, because that means he tries to be a little bit defensive, wants to get rid of the damage that would be pushed through by the Rumblespark embodiment, but that does not change my plan in playing Virug's Embrace, triggering the Dark Heart Sorcerers, giving my Rumblespark embodiment some attack power, and playing Xra's Will as well, which tops up my life total again by 5 points, drains the opponent by 5, and lets the embodiment kill the opposing demon in the meantime. If my opponent does nothing to change the board state. Let's see what Cletus is up to. So at this point I was very fine with the board state and sufficiently protected from flame jets that my opponent has in his deck with a life total of 15. 15 minus 7 from the camouflage demon is still 8, and he has the flame jet in his banish pile right now. That means his flame jet level 2 is somewhere in his deck. I don't know whether he has it on hand or not, so I have to be always ready to defend against the flame jet attack. So he plays mobility 2 and some attack buff on the stealthed demon, which leaves me open for flame jet in the next turn, putting me down to 1 by adding an aggressive undead Yeti, the Undetti, which he can play when he has damaged creatures on board. And now I am just really happy to be able to finish off the game with a flame jet if I get to play my first action. So this is a really tense moment, because my opponent could just have drawn flame jet and finish off the game for himself, or any other direct damage. He goes for the Shambling Geist, Shambling Apparition I think, and I am able to finish off the game. Perfect. GG is called. Good game. Thanks for watching.